Meeting's being live streamed.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our early September board meeting of the continuing committee. My name is Adam Barger. I go by A Barger 7510 on the forums. I'm the current chair of the committee for 2025. We have a small audience or participation this morning. But if we could just introduce the rest of us, I think our audience would appreciate that.
All right, I'll go. Maggie Geppert, I'm Jadzia Dax 8. I'm the executive officer currently.
Charlie Plain, Midnight Lich, and currently the director of First Edition.
I guess the first thing that we should cover is, do we have a quorum to open up this meeting? We have currently four board positions filled, three are vacant. Uh, uh, Three of us are here of the four positions that are filled. The bylaws
I'm
are
looking it up.
not extremely clear about what happens in this situation. I am sure that it was unanticipated, but let's take a look to make sure that we do indeed have a quorum to continue.
The quorum section of our bylaw is very helpful. I'm looking. Quorum. There it is. A majority of the elected and qualified directors shall be necessary to constitute a quorum.
My impression on that is that we currently have four elected and qualified officers right now holding board positions. Three of them are here, which does constitute a majority. Does anyone disagree?
I do not.
Feels squiggly to me, but I'm 2 to 3 is enough to move it forward. So
Motion to open the meeting.
I move to open the meeting.
I second. The meeting is open. All right. Good morning, everyone. We are officially in business now. Let's start out with minutes from the last meeting. Justin posted them after the last meeting concluded. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes? Do we have any objections to approval of last board meeting minutes?
I don't recall seeing anything that uh, I don't recall seeing anything that didn't make any sense. So I will move to approve the meeting minutes.
I do not believe we will be taking minutes for this.
I'm taking minutes right now.
Oh, Maggie, you're awesome.
Thank you, Maggie. If that wasn't the case, I would suggest that we go back and feed this video through one of those handy dandy AI transcription tools and use that to help us out. But I appreciate it. Great. Um, let's see. Do we have someone second the motion to approve last meeting's minutes?
I will second.
The minutes are approved. All right. Let's move on to department updates. Charlie, you are first in line in my order from left to right. Why don't you go ahead and kick us off?
Sure thing. So First Edition is trudging along quite well. We did unfortunately have to defer the Klingon Civil War expansion we hoped to have out in August. It just took us longer to get it where we were ready to start testing it. Um, it's just, I mean, it just got delayed. We're still working on it. We're still going to put it out. It just will not be before the end of the 30th anniversary. Um, We are running into a couple snags with All Good Things, traditional and remastered, but I am hoping we will still be able to deliver those in November. Um, and let's see, we just recently, we've been having a number of um, arguments, discussions about how we're going to handle a lot of the new Trek stuff. Most of it, I think we've got leveled out. There's a couple sticky spots, but I'm going to put a wrap on the discussions here soon, and we're going to move to a decision. I always like to try to get decisions via consensus, but I think for at least a couple of these sticky points, we're never going to get a consensus, and I'm going to just have to make a decision. And those last few things are limiting us on some things, but we did just recently fire up 3 new projects. We have a Ferengi booster shot project, Project Platinum, that's being run by Patty. It's going to provide some new Ferengi options because they're really hard to play right now. And we want to find a deck that like the weird Ferengi can go into. So like the Voyager Ferengi that don't currently have a home, or if we make Ferengi from lower decks or Prodigy, it'd be nice to give them a home as well. Another one is a new set of showdown decks based on Dan. It's Deep Space Nine versus Dominion, but it's sort of like pre-Dominion War. It's not combat focused, so we're not putting out 2 sets of showdown decks that are super combat focused back to back. And we're going to be playing around with a low seed DS9 build with that project, so that you can play DS9 without all the full power of it, of the sites and everything, but much less complexity. And the third one that we have going is a crime and criminals expansion being run by Stoffa, Christopher Wicker, and going to be lots of like seedy underworld of the galaxy there. And all of those projects won't be until next year. And we are going to start putting in some new Trek content. Nothing major yet, just introducing some things. Although I will say that the set that we are closest to releasing right now is, we call it Daily Bar. It's a whole set about Delta Quadrant missions. I want to say it's like 30 new missions. And we did sneak some new Trek stuff in there. So that will be coming. And we also have another project we're doing that I'm not going to tell you about yet. I'll tell you the code name. It's Project Athena. It is currently tentatively scheduled for late winter of 2027. So like March 2027. We're doing something new with it, which is we're basically letting everybody on the design team work on it. Basically, we just fired up a new forum, and I started threads for the different cards that we want to do, and people are working on them as they can, rather than it being like a separate project team. So I'm really interested to see how that ends up going, and we'll keep you informed. And I do owe you all a project status report article, which I will work on. And the last thing I wanted to mention is I have a giant, I don't know if I can turn my camera around, but here, I have a big stack of March Madness prizes that need to go to the post office. So that's why you haven't gotten them yet, because they're sitting here until I can get to the post office, which is annoying because our post office is only open from like 9 to 4 now, Monday through Friday. So it's very hard for me to get over there without taking a day off. So that's where we are. Things are moving, things are slow, but we're marching forward, and I'm really proud of the whole team we've put together and everybody's hard work. So that's it for me, unless there are any questions. So.
not looked to see if there are any questions on the site. Maggie,
I
have you
can't.
seen any?
I did post the link and not seeing anybody yet on the chat.
Great. Maggie, let's transition over to your update.
Okay, so not much going on in exec officer specific duties right now, but I anticipate being able to um, dig in a bit more to the strategic plan coming up very soon. Because I am on sabbatical this semester from work. I'm working on a project, so I am doing stuff for work, but I'm working on a project and I get a little more flexibility in free time. So I've been working on promos. Yay. So that's our ambassador gift this year, Dathan, and planning to dig into the strategic plan a bit more in the coming weeks. So that's the big thing. That's my big next thing that I'm going to be working on. One thing I really should do is open the annual, what do we do about membership for period of review thread, because that time of year is rolling up on us. Other duties that I have been working on, I did set the promos to be printable for September. So those went out. There was an article. I think everything is settled and set right now, so that's done. Um, I need to work on getting the next set of tournament promos revealed. And in the promenade, I dropped the ball on that in the rush for Worlds and the recovery from that. But there are some sets of the new tournament U and V for first edition and Series 25 for second edition. There are 10 sets of each of those in the promenade in Remo's hands at the moment. So, and if you attended Worlds, you got some of those as part of your prize package because I made a special delivery of promos to Kaiser at Worlds. Um, I brought a long box of stuff for Worlds, and that was part of it. So, yeah, just ticking away at promos. Next thing on my plate, on the to-do list for today, because I only have a few. I don't have very many of the ambassador promos to finish. Also, if you're an ambassador and watching this and haven't put in your request for your ambassador gift, please do that now. But the next thing is league promos. So if you didn't hear, or if we haven't announced it here yet, the league promos for this year are going to be the New Trek April Fools promos. And I believe we also have quite a few sets of the Tribbles League kits from last year still available in the Promenade. So I think we'll just recycle those for anybody who wants to do Tribbles Leagues. But yeah, the sets will be the 9 card April Fools sets of new Trek cards for first edition and second edition. So those are printed and sitting in a box by my feet right now, and they're the next thing on the list to get cut and assembled. So that's what I've been working on quite a bit lately.
Great. Thank you, Maggie. From my perspective, Department of Operations, we have a major topic that we'll talk about under old business. But other than that, um, there has been work happening on the programming team. We have a new volunteer on the programming team. We've asked that person to focus on achievements because if you've been paying attention to the forums, you know that there has been a little bit of conversation surrounding just a logical application of achievements criteria, making sure that the decks that fulfill the right criteria are getting the right credit. So we are working on that. Maggie, you talked a little bit about what's happening from a promo distribution standpoint. One thing that we have done is we have transferred a significant amount of back stock of inventoried promos in anticipation of getting the long-awaited reward store for volunteers up and running. So we've taken the first steps towards doing that because all of those old promos sitting around, having nothing happening to them, is not something that we want. We want to get them in the players' hands. So we're taking steps to do that. Finally, one thing I do have on my list is Maggie created a great short video with best practices for printing and cutting promos. One of the things that we found is that an obstacle to getting players back involved in the game is they feel like sometimes they can't have the type of cards that feel good in their hands from a virtual perspective, and that lowers their willingness to want to play with them. So what we'll be doing, I need to add this to the FAQ, but we'll be publishing that video as a best practice so that players that want to use virtual cards, but also want to use virtual cards that feel good with their other cards can use that, and that no longer becomes a barrier to entry for us. So yeah, those are the non-huge news things that I have been working on from an operations standpoint.
And you're doing great.
Thank you, Charlie. Let's transition, since we do not have Justin here today for a financial status. Let's transition into old business. The first piece of old business is the search for open board positions. From my perspective, right now, there are two key open board positions that we are currently conducting searches for. We have a third open board position that is less of a priority right now. Obviously, three open board positions at once is not ideal. It leads to the sort of conversations that we don't want to have, like the things at the beginning of the meeting where we had to figure out whether we qualify for a quorum. We want to get these positions filled as soon as we can. The Department of Second Edition search is currently in progress. I am chairing that search. Where that is right now is I have formed a committee of search team members. We have solicited applications. We have received applications. We have closed the window for applications. And right now, the candidates are undergoing round one interviews for the second edition director position. So that search is active. It is running, and I would say it is on schedule. So movement from a second edition perspective, which is good. Organized play. Organized play is not quite as active right now. Still soliciting applications. I have a couple people who have expressed interest but have not formally applied that I have on my list as needing to get in touch with to advance that search. Conducting two searches on my own at once is not something that necessarily I'd like to be doing, but we need to get this moving. We also understand that from a timing perspective, we need to figure out the plan for Worlds next year, and knowing that that can't wait for an OP director search, I've gotten in touch with at least one person who has expressed interest in hosting Worlds next year. So that is where we stand from a second edition and OP director search perspective. Any comments or discussion items on that update?
Thank you to everybody volunteering in some capacity for that process. Whether you're on the search committee or you're a candidate, thank you.
100%. I particularly feel very good about the search committee that we put together for second edition. I think between the quality of candidates that we have and the quality of the search committee, we're going to land on a great outcome for that department. next piece of old business, one that accelerated in priority over the past, I would say, 1 to 2 months, is website hosting. As I'm sure everyone who is listening is aware, we started experiencing significant issues with our website just prior to Worlds, maybe 2 or 3 weeks prior to Worlds, where the influx of activity was causing the board to be inaccessible, and that is very problematic. It essentially amounted to a denial of service attack, and ultimately it was caused by what we think are AI agents scrubbing the site for use in their models. I'm not a technical person, so maybe I'll ask you, Charlie, to chime in a little bit as well. But we had a tremendous effort from a number of members of the community. They put in a ton of work to change our hosting, put into place protections that would prevent this sort of influx of agents bringing the site down and restoring the site back up to a level of service that really is table stakes ahead of Worlds, when people need access to the database, to their decks, in order to pull together quality products for their participation. That is where we stand right now. Charlie, as a more technical person than I, is there anything that you'd like to add to this particular topic?
No, technology is ever changing, and we have to be adaptable. And we're on a very like the we've upgraded our server, I think, twice since the CC started, but we haven't again because all the upgrades through our current host require us to switch to software that we can't support right now. In fact, we're actually paying extra to support the legacy versions of our systems. So it's been on our list for a while to upgrade, and Marcus has been doing the heavy lifting working on that. But then this rash of bots or whatnot, we suspect they're AI bots. We can't say for sure,
Yeah.
but they're coming out of a area that's known for having AI bots, and since it's unregulated and they don't respect the protocols to like limit, they were generating so much traffic and filling up our database that our provider locked us off.
Yeah.
And that's what happened when the site went away. And that took a couple days to resolve. But really, like you said, Marcus and Brian Sheffline and a couple other folks who I can't remember, I had a tiny hand in this, worked overtime to sort of like get those things fixed. And then we've set up a Cloudflare,
Mhm.
which is doing a great job filtering. It may annoy you, asking
Yeah.
you to prove that you're human every now and then, but that's better than having the site taken down again. Uh, so it's a process. We're working on it. We're stable at the moment. Haven't had any problems since we rolled out Cloudflare. It's blocking the offenders. So
Yeah,
huge
absolutely.
shout out to our programming team.
100%. The amount of time that it took for them to identify the issues, get them corrected, and get the site back up and running for um, all of our world's participants, especially, is just phenomenal. Can't thank them enough. Let's see. Any other top comments on this topic? No. So let's move on to new business. Since the last time that we met, Worlds happened. Um, let's tee up our reflection and recap of that particular event.
My first thing that I would love to say is thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Johannes Klarhauser, for putting together a spectacular, spectacular worlds. I've hosted before. I know how much work I put in, and his was like head and shoulders above uh, what what I've done. The art, the promos, the cards. We had a great sponsor. There's a Italian fellow who's got a card store. I forget who sponsored and
Called
gave us,
Card Game Geeks, I think. Is that right?
yeah, something like that, Card Game Geek. And they were a big sponsor. Um I guess it's sort of like the Chamber of Commerce of Unterschleißheim sponsored the event. So we were in the town hall, and it was a great venue. So wonderful restaurants all around. Like it overall, just a great experience this year for Worlds. So thank you to Johannes for all your help. I had a wonderful time.
Yeah, I'll foot stomp that. This was actually the first Worlds that I've ever attended, and just the quality and time, the experience was amazing. It was experience of a lifetime, and I had a tremendous amount of fun. The hospitality, both from Johannes as well as the rest of the German community, was just I can't speak enough for that group and that community. Just a tremendous event. Um, Moving on to specific reflections on both first edition, second edition, Tribbles. Any impressions of those particular championships?
I wasn't there, unfortunately, but we did have a meeting very shortly after with our staff and the people who were there. Largely said good things. Again, everybody's shouting out how great the event was overall. We were very happy with 1E's representation, the number of affiliations and deck types. Very happy that there wasn't shenanigans. A couple of small things that we noted that we'll address at some point. But most of the feedback we got, one of the people on staff for Winnie now is relatively new to the modern game, and so he brought at least one of his friends with him, and they had some good feedback about generally how we're running big tournaments. That once we get a new OP director on board, I would love to have a more in-depth conversation. But, generally, from a Winnie point of view, it's a great event, and the game is in a pretty great place. So I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, when your top table for Worlds has um what was it? Something like 53 dilemmas between the two decks
Yeah.
as
Yeah, that's awesome. So
like the audacity of a 29 dilemma seed deck in the modern age was like wow, just wow. And
yeah,
and um and, and Neil's deck not far behind. And no feds to be seen at the top table.
yeah, it was good. The representation was good. We didn't comment on our disappointment at the lack of Vidians, but we also know that particular deck type is very unpopular in Europe. So it's not terribly shocking, but overall, we're really happy with things. If I had been there, there would have been Vidians on the table. So um, we'll see, who knows? But it was a really great event, and data wise, analysis wise, we're pretty happy with where things are. The game's not perfect. There's a lot of places we can improve, but we didn't come out of this being like, well, somebody broke this, we have to fix it. It's just minor little things. So
Perfect. Thanks, Charlie. Without a second edition uh, director, Maggie, maybe you can comment a little bit on your impressions of the second edition side of things.
Deep Space Nine was very popular. I mean, I picked Deep Space Nine myself just mostly because it's the Gamma Quadrant, the new Gamma Quadrant support cards, just because I wanted to play with them. And I've played Rainbow DS9 at Worlds before, so that was my reason for my choice. Cardassians are still good. There's been a lot of talk about now. It wasn't a Cardassian speed solver at the top table. Steve was playing capture, right? So, um, but that capture still has the central command and enemy of my enemy available to them, and so that's we've done some nerfs to Cardassians in the past year. So we nerfed the AU Garrick. Um, have we nerfed Central Command? I can't remember.
It's been nerfed at least once, but
Yeah, and I
I'm
know
aware of
enemy,
it.
but I don't know if it was the last year. It wasn't certain, might have been earlier than that. So, but yeah, I mean they're a tough nut to crack because they've got a lot of tools because in the past they were sort of allowed to run free. So they're going to be hard. That's going to be probably something to that the errata team's going to look at. I can tell you. I don't mind outing myself as a member of the 2E balance team that there's a we're going to have a meeting within the next month or so just to talk about what we think needs to get what cards need to get looked at for balance for 2E. But yeah, we had a lot of good participation. One thing that was disappointing is we did have several people who I was really looking forward to seeing again or meeting for the first time who had family emergencies or other things come up at the very last minute, or like one guy who went to a heavy metal festival the weekend before and came down with COVID. So we didn't have as many people showing up for the for Worlds as was originally anticipated. So I think that we would have seen some more some different stuff from those folks who were going to be coming back. But it was, I didn't get to see as much of second edition because I played very poorly.
That
Lost
happens.
60. Lost like 63 rating points like day one. I like it was bad. So it is what it is. So I didn't get to see like as much of the top tier stuff, but that those were my impressions from what I did get to see over the 2 days.
Yeah, I would largely concur with that. The other thing that I'll just mention real quick is also second year in the row that the Varia missions appeared at the top table. So something probably to think about as well. Any final comments on Worlds just to wrap up that conversation?
Just want
Oh,
to appeal to anyone. Oh, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say also um Battle Deck won Tribbles this year, which so I don't that's actually I think pretty healthy because battle decks tend not to go out, and so they're a tough deck to pilot and really get them to pull off. So it was a battle deck this year for Tribbles. I haven't looked to see what other people were playing. I was playing assimilate validate with a lot of the um, a lot of the metagame cards that came out in uh,
Bad Brood, right?
Bad Brood Rising. Um, so I had a lot of meta stuff there that sometimes actually was quite effective. But I didn't get out enough to make it to the top table. So
I just wanted to say, anyone, especially for Winnie or Tribbles, who was there, if you would want to share your thoughts, please post on the forums. Please send me a private message. Please reach out and we can schedule a call. Just I'm eager to hear more feedback from people who are on the ground. That weren't Winnie volunteers necessarily. So I invite you to reach out.
Thank you. And let's just close this again by once again congratulating Neil, Michael, and Ben on their world championships. Very well deserved. We had a request for an additional new business topic. The request was for us to comment on the recent acquisition of Paramount by Skydance. So we'll tee that up as our final topic for discussion before moving on to the public comment period. Any thoughts about the Skydance merger? I know I have my impression of what I'd like to say, but I'll defer the initial chance to Charlie and Maggie.
Maggie, you
For
want to go first?
me, sure. When I read the press release, I threw up in my mouth a little bit because it was gross to read. I'm not going to say anything more about that, but yeah. As for like if that impacts us, I don't think that impacts us because everything is still going to be put out under the name Paramount. So I don't think we have to change our disclaimer to say Skydance. But Charlie, I'm
I
not a legal
probably would.
expert.
I'm not either, but I probably would change it just to um,
Just to CYA.
just to CYA. Yeah, I think it's technically Paramount colon a Skydance Corporation. So I don't know if we use that phrasing or not. I also don't think this is going to affect us. We don't know. We don't know until we do. But in terms of our strategies and our plans, I'm not. I'm not worried about it. Um,
Yeah,
it's probably going to end up being a net positive for Star Trek. It sounds like Skydance is in on Star Trek. Um, as long as we end up getting quality over quantity, like I don't want them to just like vomit out. I won't comment too much on my dissatisfaction with the other major Star properties uh, TV work, but I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good infusion of cash, and I think if they're really going to be willing to invest in it, we might get some new stuff. They haven't come in and taken an axe to anything. I suspect the main reason things were canceled and not new things weren't greenlit was because Paramount was trying to get acquired, um, and so they were
yeah,
keeping costs down.
yeah.
Um, I would love to see uh, new stuff coming, um, and I hope it's controversial, and I know people don't love a lot of the new Trek, but I think it would be awesome to get to see like a 32nd century Star Trek movie, and bring back some of the disco characters and tell a cool story. I think there's a lot of cool stuff to be done, and I'd really like to see it. So
I
I'm not
think
terribly
the
worried about it in terms of its impact for us. So
Yeah, I do think that the 32nd century sequel, the Starfleet Academy sequel, is still greenlit and still moving forward. So we will get that.
it's
Um,
already. I mean, they've already filmed season one. They put out
yeah,
trailers, and it was already renewed for season two. And near as I can tell, that has not been canceled. Uh,
yep, yep. Yeah, I mean, from my impression on this, over the past decade and a half, the reality is the ownership of Star Trek and Paramount and CBS has changed several times. That hasn't changed what we've done. As you mentioned, Paramount and CBS are continuing as operating entities under Skydance. So, from my perspective, things are the same until they're not. And if things start becoming clear that they're not the same, then we can adjust. But right now, Paramount, CBS, they're still active. Entities within the Skydance parent. Nothing's changed that. They haven't been dissolved. If it looks like something's changing from that regard, then I think my impression about how we need to react from a disclaimer or anything else perspective would probably change as well. All right, I think we've exhausted that topic. So let's move to the public comment period. Have we had any public comments come in either through chat, Discord, forum postings, any other mediums that people may be monitoring that I am not that we can use to wrap up the meeting with?
I've
I'm
only
not
seen one
seeing.
question from Kanepi van Hans, who I actually think is Johannes Meta, who says, was there a topic called 2026 Worlds? I said, we're in talks with a prospective host.
Yes, we are in talks with a prospective host. That I tried to refer to that a little bit earlier, but knowing that the world's selection schedule cannot wait for the identification of a new OP director. I've engaged engaged in discussion with someone who is potentially interested in hosting. Those discussions are ongoing, and hopefully I will have news there very soon.
It is a location. When I mentioned it to my husband, he's like, well, we're going. That's all I'll say.
I will say that if things turn out the way that that are in alignment with the vision that I heard, then my ideas for next year's promo theme have already stirred up. So that's a good thing.
Well, if you can see the OP forum, please post those ideas. We need ideas for next year's promos.
I can see all forums, but I can't necessarily post to all forums. So I'll send you a PM if I can.
Okay, yeah, it's just the Department of Organized Play. There's a forum thread there.
Okay.
I move to
Yeah,
adjourn.
I'll
Any other
second.
no comments have come in, no other questions come in.
No, I'm not seeing. I'll double check Discord. Uh, nope, I'm not seeing any questions on Discord.
Awesome. Motion to adjourn carries. Thank you, everyone, and we will see you next time.